in the STEM fields, and I was kind of alone most of the times in these areas, and I went to GTTI. I was the only lady in my entire course for the whole of a 3 years period. So basically that's what I am focused on. And later, recently, sometime in 2019, I started Make 3D with my partner, Sylvester Tikach.
Nice, nice, nice. So now the same question goes to you, Sylvester. Tell us who you were before you, fully put yourself into Make 3D.
Well, at the age of 9, actually, two important things happened to me.
Okay.
First, I repaired the electric lighter of my grandma in Slovakia. That's where my mother is from.
Nice.
It was working for like a few hours, but then all the electricity in like a big story building with maybe 40 apartments went down because of that, so I was to blame. But then I decided to study a little bit more before I started repairing something.
Yeah, okay.
And also in the age of 9, I bought a book for physics about aerospace, and I was flying, because at that time I realized I wanted to be a pilot. And 10 years later, I went to study flying at university, but unfortunately I couldn't finish it. I couldn't become the pilot because of my eyes. Okay. But still, since then I had a passion in technology, in aerospace, and so on. But for a couple of years I left the area of engineering, the area of technology, and then I went to basically focus on development work and various solutions and finding the solutions. And then I came to the Gambia in 2017 with another project with Czech Bikes, providing bicycles to schools, but also teaching bike mechanics how to repair bikes and so on. And one of the constraints was how to get the tools. Some of the tools are kind of difficult to get in the Gambia, professional tools, if the bike needs to be repaired properly. So I was searching about the technologies, and I found 3D printing, and I started to experiment in 3D printing that time. And that's where we brought our first printer, and I said, okay, well, there's a lot of use for 3D printing in the Gambia, actually. So we started to focus and invest into the 3D printing until we established the company and, broaden the area to many fields in the Gambia. Nice,
nice. We'll actually talk about those fields in the Gambia, because it's actually come in handy for, a lot of things like the COVID-19. But obviously we'll talk about that later. So I know it's a partnership. You guys do it together, and it's like a you found it and then you co-founded it. So you kind of come together, or is it different?
We co-founded it together.
Okay, so you co-founded it.
And then we get married. So.
Oh, okay. You see, so you guys are married. So that's why I said it's a partnership, because you guys are, in it all together. Okay, now we'll move on. And this is a question that I always ask, and it's interesting to know about my interviewees. What was it like growing up as a young joker, as a young Sylvester back in Czech?
Okay, I will start.
Yeah, you can start. Who will start?
All right.
Okay.
Well, actually, I would say in a lot of ways different in the Gambia.
Okay.
I have to admit that I come from the, let's say, average family, got an average education, went to the average university after that, and so on. But it was always a lot of new inputs, a lot of new things to do, because the childhood in Czech gives a lot of opportunities to get in touch with those technologies. Not 3D printing that time necessarily, but we had these programs for children in, let's say, robotics or making the models of the airplanes. That was my case, and so on. And that gives you, the idea what to become or what you actually like, and when we are coming back to the current situation, one of our mission is to provide this a part of these opportunities for the Gambians as well, to be able to get the passion in technology at the early age.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So I guess your childhood was quite interesting, because obviously you were involved in all of this technicalities and obviously robotics and just making and creating things in the technical aspect.
Exactly. My father, he was an electrical engineer, and he was a hobbyist maker. He was building and making everything by himself. He had a small workshop at house. So I actually get the opportunity to be with him, to learn about electrical engineering a bit, to learn about mechanical welding and working with metal, wood, and so on.
Yeah.
And this is the opportunities which bring the passion into technology, into the life.
Okay, I like that. So Fatou, tell us about you and your childhood.
Recently, I was talking to my brother, and we were discussing how I feel like I did not realize my privileges, and he said that's how it is with everyone that is privileged.
Right.
I did not realize my privileges growing up, because I never really got to see how I was kind of different from the, I wouldn't want to call it the average Gambian home, because I grew up in a house where I was never limited, basically.
Okay.
And I never saw gender roles. I never even knew what gender roles were or how to be different from the boys or any other person in the house. In my house, everyone was just, we had the same opportunities to education, we had the same opportunities to activities, extracurricular activities, to games, to basically anything that is in the house is for everyone.
Yeah.
So I realized that this was, when I grew up, I realized this was not the norm in every other household in the Gambia. So basically, I can say I had a very good childhood, which was pretty normal to me. And then I had opportunities, I was exposed, and then when you talk about technology and technicalities, I can also say I started very young, because when I was growing up, my dad will buy bikes and we will assemble it together. If something gets broken in the house, he will say, a machine doesn't fix it. A human being does, so we can try to figure it out. If we fail, then we go to someone else.
Yeah.
We assemble almost anything together. So basically, I feel like that's where my exposure came from when it comes to technical work and what I love now. So yes, I had a very good childhood.
Okay, that sounds interesting. I'm just sitting here imagining like you as a young Fatou, like fixing bikes and fixing.
And when I was in high school, I was opening calculators of my friends with a screwdriver, and I almost got in serious trouble for that, and I broke my teeth, one of my tooth with a screwdriver.
Wow.
And, yeah, my best friend still calls me.
That's painful.
It was not completely gone, but yes.
Okay.
My best friend still calls me the girl with the screwdriver because of that incident back in high school.
Okay,
so curiosity basically is what got me.
You didn't know that? Oh, you see? You found that.
Only he can call me that.
Okay, no, this is what Coffee With is all about, to know more about the individual stuff that people out there don't already know, because I didn't know that. So it's good. Now we move on. So let's talk about Joka. So tell us what inspired you to get involved into technical engineering.
What inspired me was, I can say, just like I said right now, curiosity. Because I have always been a curious person. How does this work? Why does it work like this?
Yeah.
So I have always been curious to know, this is what I want to know. If I see the machine sitting there, I just don't want to make sure it is working. I want to know why it works like this, why it is doing this, why it is behaving like this. So I guess that was where my inspiration came from. And also because I did not have any limitations, and let's say I was doing well then and I pushed, and yes, in Gambia, you know how it has to go with grades and classes and stuff, so you have to maybe do well in science, do well in math, and then you are able to push through some fields. So yes, let's say I was not limited and I was curious, so that's how my interest was sparked. Yes, that's how I got involved.
That's nice. Curiosity, they say, does kill the cat, but I'm glad it did not kill you. You know, you're still here. Okay, so Sylvester, tell Coffee With, you spoke about it before, about the inspiration of Make 3D, you know, seeing the development that Czech already has in regards to technology. Obviously, that's lacking in the Gambia. Now it's up and coming. People are being more involved in technology, you know, creating their own apps, etc., etc. But tell us about Make 3D. What really pushed you to say, okay, let me build, you know, let us build together this 3D company that will make a change in Gambia?
Well, I was saying it even like maybe 2 years ago when I came to the Gambia. I saw this development coming, right? I saw new startup companies, especially in technologies. I saw the robotics coming into the educational programs and becoming popular. I see that people are becoming more and more aware about the possible impact of technology. So I was saying, well, now it is the best time to start something in the Gambia because now everything is going on. So I would say that, and it is in a way easier to do something like that in the Gambia than in another country, because right now there is a lot of will from young Gambians and from institutions supporting young Gambians to actually help creating these kind of businesses, these kind of stories, these kind of solutions, right? So now it's a great time to come, and that time I didn't really know that we will set the company in 3D printing, and then as a coincidence we brought a 3D printer. We thought, well, it might be the only 3D printer in the country,
of course.
Really. So we are trying to, without an intention to set anything like a company or the NGO or anything, just to try to
explore.
Explore, that's the right word. It can provide the solutions in different fields that we later profiled into, let's say, medicine, education, and entrepreneurship is our key areas that we focus on. But we didn't know that at the beginning. At the beginning we said, well, let's see, let's do this. Let's get inspired by this project. There's a project that prints a prosthetic hand. So let's try to print one prosthetic hand and use it. There's a 3D printing projects which for example, prints a corn sheller for the corn processing, right? Let's try to print this and let's provide it to somebody to work. So these were kind of experiments that we were doing until before we actually took the path that moved us into the education, medicine, and I would say support of traditional, conventional methods of manufacturing. Where we are now. I guess then if we meet here in 5 years, we might be profiling you in one of these areas, or we might find another possible exciting applications of 3D printing, right?
Of course. And I think with 3D is growing because we know that, you know, 3D, which is the actual name, but commonly called 3D, is not that common in the Gambia. I believe you guys are the first company to actually have anything established, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
in the actual manufacturing itself, not just the 3D design. There's basically a lot of 3D design going on in Gambia when it comes to architectural work and other things. But when it comes to the actual 3D design in printing and manufacturing, we are the first company in the Gambia.
So how does that feel?
It feels good. For me, it feels amazing that I am able to provide solutions, because this is what I have always wanted throughout my life. I have always been the person that actually looks for solutions, that actually gives people solutions. So yes, it feels good to be the first, and for now the only 3D printing company in the Gambia, and still providing solutions.
Nice. And so we spoke earlier about COVID-19, and obviously I know you Make 3D partnered with MRC as well. So tell us about those partnerships and how did it come about, and also the success you've made out of it, and what can we look forward to as well from Make 3D?
Okay, so before our partnership with MRC, we already had discussions with them, we had talks, and with everything that was going on in the world, then COVID-19 happened. When COVID-19 happened, 3D printing companies throughout the world were focused on providing solutions. And as you know, the market for supplies when it comes to PPEs and other medical equipment, it was kind of disrupted, and it was kind of stopped, and obviously someone somewhere has to find the solutions. And since supplies were not getting to the country, or the countries that are actually making face shields are hoarding their face shields for themselves, you had to find the solution where you are. And that's how 3D printing came in, because with 3D printing you can easily design something and then you can print it within a couple of hours, as long as you have the design and you have the other equipment to bring things together and make them happen. So we said, why not? If other 3D printing companies elsewhere in the world are doing this, and individuals with 3D printers, we can come up and provide these solutions. And that's how our partnership with MRC Unity Gambia started, and we were able to sign an agreement with them, and we started producing not just face shields but other laboratory equipment. And with COVID-19, we I know the face shields are the most popular thing that people know, but we also did templates for face masks that were distributed out to tailors throughout the country.
Okay.
Yes, and then they were using it so that they can have uniform face mask for standards. So basically that's how we have a lot of uniform face masks with the same size in the country. And yes, we also did the door handles, we did the ear savers for the face mask, we did a whole lot of things when it comes to
That's
COVID.
Pretty cool.
So yes, it was, COVID-19 was a great opportunity for us as business people and as solution finders.
Yeah.
So we were able to jump on it and come up with solutions.
That's good. So Vesta, I see you want to add something.
Yes.
To add something. So what do you want to say?
I want to say several things. First of all, just to summarize what is the actual advantage, why 3D printing is the one providing solutions, right?
It's pretty cool.
The thing is that let's say 3D printers are the machine that produce some products in general.
Yeah.
But their advantage compared to other technologies is that you can easily, sometimes within minutes or within hours, reprogram the machines to produce something completely different.
Wow.
So let's say today we are producing face shields, but tomorrow we will have a demand that someone will need to produce some connectors for the medical devices, like some other things that we are producing. We can have a design within an hours, and start printing immediately. In the morning come with the idea, in the afternoon have the product, right? So we don't need to invest in the new hardware always to produce new things. We should have a variety of raw materials available, so we will be able to provide products with different physical features, but it's just the, let's say, design that needs to be made or downloaded or acquired in another way. And then we can easily reprogram the machines to produce something completely different, right? So, and a part of face shields and these applications, we were also working on prototypes of the real medical devices, like CPAP, like connectors for additional oxygen, and so on. And our latest application with Dr. Keba S. Marena is the orthopedic braces, right? Which are made of thermoplastic and are easily customizable for the needs, for the shape of the patient's hand and so on, right? That's and we can measure the patient in the morning and provide a solution in the evening, right? And this solution, it's usually cheaper than the conventional methods, faster and adjusted to the particular patient, right? So this is the advantage.
Well, this is a great advantage because I believe we need fast solutions in these pressing moments.
Especially with broken bones.
Broken bones and stuff. You need fast solutions because you don't want to have like a lingering bone just hanging in there. So yeah, are we good for time? Okay, we can continue. I saw him doing signals. Okay, anyways, basically, the next question I'm going to ask is an open one, but it's about your views on the rate of innovation amongst young people. Because like you mentioned, in 2018 when you came, there was a lot of people involved in different startups, businesses. We had the likes of ITC, GCCI, all these organizations helping young people with their businesses. So like we can see that startups had that platform and the power to grow. But obviously, young people tend to follow a trend of the same thing that someone's doing, and they'll do the same thing because they see success in that person's avenue. So they're like, okay, let me do that too. You know what I'm talking about, right?
That's it, it's cool.
Yes. So like now the question is, do you think young people are thinking outside of the box? Whoever wants to answer can answer.
Do you think young people are thinking outside of the box?
Well,
But I think we are. I have been here all my life, basically, so I know how things have been going in Gambia. And a lot of things have definitely changed throughout the years. And young people are doing amazingly well when it comes to innovation, when it comes to new ideas. Obviously, once you come up with an idea, there will be someone that will want to copy it. There will be someone that will want to join the same race and do something. But then it doesn't take away the fact that someone has been innovative enough, someone has been brainstorming and working on something and making sure it gets to a particular point and it becomes what they want it to be. So I believe the vision is what matters when it comes to copying or pasting. The vision you have and what you want it to be and how you plan it, because obviously a person can copy what you're doing, but they cannot copy what you're thinking. True. So I believe young people in Gambia are doing amazingly well, and the market is big. As much as Gambia is small, we also have a very unique market, because people will go to who they want to go to. So as long as innovation is happening, that's okay.
Okay, so they are thinking outside the box.
Yeah, definitely.
So
definitely.
Well, I think that copying is not always, doesn't always mean not innovating.
Okay.
Because if you have some inspiration, let's say from abroad, of some functional business, you cannot just simply copy the business as it is. You need to always adjust it to the local conditions, to the local demands, and which needs that you need to do some adjustments and innovations. So even with the existing scheme, you can still basically get inspired from the project, but add your own innovations to succeed on the local market. Again, I can speak from our point of view. 3D printing is nothing new in the world. So you can. It has been invented in 1980s basically, and there are different technologies and so on, which is now widely used. So, well, we could consider our company as also copying something from abroad, but no, I mean, we need to come with the designs specific for the Gambian market, even if the manufacturing technology is the same. So I think there is an innovation, and there is a will to innovate. Sometimes the conditions are just challenging. You know, let's say, starting with education, access to information, access to those technologies as well. And you mentioned YAP and ITC. We have a MOU with them. And a part of the MOU is to provide access to the 3D printing technology and our services to the young youths and to their ideas, how to improve their business. And we received a lot of very interesting applications, a lot of new ideas, how to use existing technology in their innovations. That's it.
Okay, well that actually leads to my next question, which isn't actually a part of this, but it's because you mentioned it and obviously it's important to us. But then that means you're actually contributing towards the rate of unemployment in the Gambia, because we do know that the unemployment rate is still quite high. Even though, you know, young people are still innovative, they have so many ideas, they get involved in so many business ideas, but still, you know, managing to get other young people off the streets into employment is the challenge. So do you guys have any ideas or maybe one or two views that you think, you know, the government or the NGOs or the organizations that are supporting these young people could look into doing?
Oh yes, definitely we do.
Okay, so tell us one or two.
Yes, we do. I mean, with 3D printing, as we said, it's a very new technology in the Gambia, and we still need a lot of people to get involved. We still need a lot of people to be interested in the technology. And with that, you cannot just get people interested in the technology and just let them go like that. They're interested, then after the interest, how do they incorporate it in their daily lives? How do they make it a business? How do they make it useful as a source of income? So yes, with more 3D printers, more access, and more people knowing about the technology, they will be needed. People will be needed, and people will need to be there to do the job. So we are ready to train people. We are ready to make sure we have more 3D printer operators, more designers, and more people working in the 3D printing industry. So with that, I believe will come a lot of employment for young people. I don't know how big it will be yet, but slowly we will get there.
Okay, Sylvester.
Well, I would say from two perspectives. When we started, we were 2 people. Now we are a team of 7 people.
Nice.
So we are already providing employment. And now, in the next months, we are just preparing the TOR for another 2 new employees.
Amazing.
So we are directly providing this employment for young people. And it's not always easy, because sometimes we are looking for a specialist in a specific field. And like a 3D designer, it was really challenging to find a 3D designer for us, right? But now we have like an external designer that work for us, Gambian, And we want to employ Gambians because we have projects in the Gambia. It's always difficult and more expensive to outsource. So we don't even mind, training a person. We were looking for, our first employee was a 3D printer operator.
Okay.
And she didn't have any experience with 3D printing. She was just a young UTG student, came for an internship in our company. And now she is, I would say, the only qualified person in the country able to do that. And she is able to operate and maintain the printers completely independently now. And it's 6 months that she learned everything, basically, right? And there was one perspective, let's say, us as the employer. But another perspective is 3D printing in other areas. Let's say I said at the beginning that we focus on medicine and education and so on.
Yeah.
Let's give the example in medicine, for example. What we want to do, we want to empower hospitals to be able not to depend on us to produce the shields for them or whatever equipment, but to have their own 3D printer to produce for themselves. So it will be cheaper. They can produce what they need when they need, and of course they will need people that will operate these machines.
Of course.
So this one 3D printer can provide employment for several people in their own facilities, right? We were talking about education, right? Again, the 3D printing itself is a process, and you need to have several skills to be able to be successful. One of some mechanical skills, let's say. A bit of programming is useful. A 3D design is useful. Material engineering is useful. And through the educational process, the students can get those qualifications, the sub-qualifications, let's say. So even if in the future they will not be 3D printing entrepreneurs, they will have this background and they can utilize this background in any other technological field, right? So this is how through the 3D printing you can increase your qualification and implement your ideas and get better chances to get employed.
Perfect.
Also the market, we don't always need to use 3D printing raw material. Let's say for the face shields, for example, we had to get rubber bands, we had to get visors, and we had to print parts that are 3D printed. So this will go in the economy, and we will need material from the market. We'll be buying things, we'll be selling things, and all of those things. So basically, it involves a whole lot of things and a whole lot of areas.
Okay, well that's good, that's good. So we have like 3 minutes, I guess, before we wrap up. So I will need 1 or 2 words of wisdom from you, 2 from you and 2 from you, that you have to give to young people to inspire them.
Words of wisdom?
Yes, 2 words.
You are the wise one, here I'm the crazy one. So.
Okay, 2 words from you and 2 crazy words from you.
Okay.
Yes.
I would say explore as much as you can, and be open-minded. Be open to opportunities. Grab them when you see them and move on. You never know what will be.
True. And you, crazy words, if you have crazy
words. Well, I thought that these are crazy. I wanted to say that, but okay. What I would say, what I think is important is the kind of self-education in these. Sometimes I feel that even me, sometimes I'm waiting until something comes to me. Well, it will never come, it might never come. But by exploring, but trying, but finding information, and we are ill. People cannot be afraid to text us to ask about 3D printing. And to just, I think like 3 weeks ago, we had one young Gambian just sending the ideas. Some of them, they might not be relevant, but some of them, they're really cool, how to use 3D printing. So I think it's about exploring. It's about trying to find the solutions.
Okay.
That's more than 3 words, actually.
That's more than 2 words. Yes, you did say it would be crazy, though. So,
okay, be crazy.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess that was all we had for this conversation. It was an interesting one. I really did enjoy talking to you, too. I love the energy. I love the vibe. And once again, I love the love and partnership. Yay! So that was all we had for you in this episode of Coffee With. I must say, Fatu Juka, said herself, explore. And then Sylvester said, information seeking, find out more information about what it is you want to do. Feel free to ask questions, basically, and I guess that's all for this episode. I am Saini Bijang. Thank you to my 2 cameramen, Musa Asani and Mustafa Diba. That was all. Thank you and bye-bye.
It is also a weapon.
Threats of a potential World War III.
I think it's an inevitability over time.
Unimaginable weapons.
So you could kidnap another satellite?
Essentially.